Just a quick reminder guys, these narrations are best enjoyed with headphones on. Hey everyone, as a part of Lord of the Rings week, we review Star Wars Battlefront developers Pandemic Studios' final game on consoles. Does this game have what it takes to defend Helm's Deep and climb to the top of the Summer of Game Pass rankings? Or is there no hope for this to happen? Only fool's hope. Let's find out. Fellow readers, welcome to the first theme-based review event of the Summer of Game Pass 2021. This week we pay homage to one of the best pieces of fantasy literature of all time, now converted to a modern-day classic trilogy of films directed by New Zealander Peter Jackson. That's right, fellow readers, welcome to Lord of the Rings Week, which is made possible by Old Games on Facebook, supported by Denny's Digital Media Services. Links to Old Games' Facebook page and the storefront is in the video's description, and if you're reading this on Blogger, the blog post itself. Now these guys have modified old school classic games which are in some cases are no longer available elsewhere. Seriously, why take a chance on torrent and abandonware websites? These games listed on the store are modified to run on modern Windows operating systems such as Windows 10. Lord of the Rings are not your thing? No problem. They still have classic games, for example Battlefield 1942 and Need for Speed Underground. They are 100% safe, 100% secure, 100% compatible, and most importantly, 100% nostalgic. Formalities aside, on with this review. California-based development studio Pandemic Studios is one of the best developers of the 2000s. They were responsible for the development of classic games, for example, the classic Star Wars Battlefront series, Full Spectrum Warrior, and Destroy All Humans, which sadly was shut down in 2009 by Electronic Arts. One of the titles that the studio developed in the latest years with this game was released in 2009 for the Xbox 360, PS3 and PC. As the name suggests, the game itself is set in the Lord of the Rings universe. The game follows the events of the films and books as you fight recreations of epic battles as the forces of either good or evil, such as Helm's Deep, one of Rohan's key fortresses, the capital city of Gondor, Minas Tirith, and the Uruk-hai fortress of Isengard, as you either save Middle-earth or destroy it. The Axe's ability scores are as follows. To start off proceedings, visibility given 9.5. The only color-coded elements that may cause an issue for a colorblind player is the status of control points and scores in a Conquest game. Control points, which are currently in control of the forces of evil, is indicated in red. Any control point currently controlled by the forces of good is in light blue. I understand that the color scheme itself is somewhat mimics to a colorblind mode in other games, for example Battlefield 3. However, we all know that interchangeable colorblind modes are the gold standard way of tailoring any game for a player with a visual impairment. On ability, I scored an abysmally low 2. There are no subtitles during campaign missions. This can be a serious issue for a player who has a hearing impairment, as he or she will be missing out on key dialogue, for example, objective reminders. However, there are subtitles that are present during cutscenes, so a hearing impaired player might want to give this game a miss. Mobility, I scored an 8.5. On the PC version, which we used to test it, the keyboard and controls can be redefined to suit the player's impairments. To make things even better, there are controller support. Even the Xbox One controller works like a charm in this game. However, when using a controller, the buttons can't be customized, so a mobility impaired player may run into slight issues when playing this game. And last but certainly not least, gameplay, I scored a highly respectable 8. In my honest opinion, this game is highly underrated. The game itself is similar to a Star Wars Battlefront game. By the way, the decent ones. However, during the campaign mode, you are getting a finite number of lives, so the stupidity of your AI teammates cannot lose you the battle. In terms of multiplayer, the official EA Nation servers has been shut down for over a decade. However, multiplayer games can still be played over Tungo and Log Me In Hamachi, so you can still play this game online. In terms of single player content, it is fairly decent. You have two campaigns, War of the Ring and The Rise of Sauron. These are the game's good and evil campaigns. You can also jump straight into battle with AI players in instant action mode. However, the map pool is decent. On the other hand, the number of modes available are somewhat lacking. There are always 3 modes available in instant action modes. This is Conquest, which is your bog standard battlefield mode, Team Deathmatch, does exactly what it says in the tin, and Capture the Ring mode, which entails grabbing the one ring and carrying it back to your team's base. Also, only certain maps on the roster support Capture the Ring mode. Each and every selectable class plays entirely differently and has its own unique roles and abilities. For example, the mage class can shield allied soldiers from ranged attacks thanks to their shield ability. Also, mages can cast lightning spells to damage closely knit groups of enemies. The archers are specialists of picking off any enemy soldiers of range. Finally, the warrior and assassins are close quarters combat experts. Their close range sword attacks can quickly deal with most enemies stupid enough to come close to them. In summary, Lord of the Rings Conquest is probably the best classic Battlefront clone you'll ever come across. The medieval fantasy setting makes the game stand out from the likes of Battlefield and Call of Duty. The game can be played online via Tungle and Log Me In Hamachi. The gameplay is exciting and the storyline is true to the films, and most importantly, the game's instant action mode is a blast to play. However, the game can get repetitive after a long play session. If you're a fan of Lord of the Rings and is looking for a Battlefield clone to play over the summer, this game is highly recommended. And the overall score is a highly respectable 70%. See you guys later on in the week when I review Return of the King. Spartan Commander 1990 out. Roll out, Spartan Legion.